calling the meeting to order at 6:30. Glad to see Ron Linker, Dan Zabreski, and Ian Keel. Rules of procedure are as always, and there for people to notice. And are there any new additions to the agenda that I don't know about? I will talk about one, but are there any other ones? So tonight we need to add the approval of the disbursement of the remaining RERP funds, which need to be used and invoiced by May 31st or lost. And we have a few priority issues to talk about with that. Does anybody have any changes to the agenda order? No. So the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the meeting on April 25th, 2016. Did everybody get a chance to read them?
So moved.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Troy?
I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't there, you can't, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Troy, so you abstain?
I didn't say nothing. Yet.
We have no old business this evening. The first item on the agenda is to discuss in terms of new business, is to discuss the sale of the international dump truck, which we talked about in the last meeting as having a trade-in value, and we added it, it was approved in the contract. It has a trade-in value with Clark's of $60,250. Since that last meeting and the approval of the purchase agreement for the truck, we received, the select board and I also received a letter from Fred and Tara Cheney of Vermont Roadworks, saying that they wished to purchase the truck and had missed out on an opportunity and were a little bit distressed. So that letter was circulated. We asked Danny to call Clark and to see if we were to not trade the truck in, would it make a difference to the bottom net line cost of the sale of the truck? It will not. So we can sell the truck to Fred and Tara, to Vermont Roadworks, and take the check and give that to the Clark instead, and we will be, the town will be even out, no dollars. The idea is that we would do that and ask them to also pay for any legal fees that would be associated with getting a firm bill of sale that would indicate that they accept the truck as is, that the town has no further liability on it, and then it would be good to go. So I wanted to see if people think that's a good idea and to get a motion.
Okay, did we enter into an agreement with Clark? I assumed we had since we made the motion. Did we enter into a signed agreement with them?
You signed a proposal.
We signed
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the motion, the guy made the motion was to purchase a truck from Clark. I don't think it technically dealt with the.
It said that you accepted the proposal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the proposal
The
we've
price
learned
is
is
still the
non-binding.
same no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a trade difference.
We have
Yeah.
a verbal agreement from Clark that the price is the same. So are there any, is there
Is there
any,
any background you can give me about how this happened and what's going on, aside from why, I don't know. I don't want to put anyone on the spot, I just don't
Yeah.
really know the background.
A while back, I told Fred that we may be having a truck come up for sale. We're gonna be getting a new truck, and I said he could have it if the dealer didn't want it.
Okay.
So basically, when we signed that agreement, the dealer, the price at 142 and change was with trade. But they said that we could get, if I could sell it in between, it wouldn't bother them.
The dealer.
Yeah.
Because we also got two prices from the
Yeah, we
trading
got,
price,
one
right?
one price was at 57 for a trade, and the other one was at 60, so.
Okay,
But by doing that, I get them come down on the truck price
right.
about $8,000.
That's what I thought, but
Yeah.
in the end, it wasn't connected.
Well,
it's, yeah. Yeah, it makes no difference to
They,
the bottom line.
no,
to
at the bottom
town.
line, it don't, longs, they're still getting their money for the truck.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's, instead of the 142, we add that 60 onto that. 73,700 of that is for the equipment. The body, hydraulic system, and the equipment.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a good deal for the truck, but I'm
Yeah.
just making sure because we sort of had two
Yeah.
prices.
Well, by doing that, I got them to come down on,
Yeah.
I mean, normally, they don't come down on the price, so.
But they're staying there, so
So we're okay.
we're okay.
I guess my other question is, are we being fair? I mean, if we're gonna sell it to a non-dealer, do we wanna sell the car, sell it like we would and give it to the highest bidder if we're gonna go that route?
Well, then if you wanna do that, you're gonna have to advertise it and do whatever.
I think that we have one very easy way to dispose of it and another.
Yeah.
And I don't, yes, we might be able to earn the town more money if we now put it out to bid, but we also need that truck, we need that money for the purchase of the truck, of the new truck.
Oh, I understand that, I'm just wondering if we're being fair to everyone in the town by accepting an offer, by accepting this offer
Yeah.
without really,
Well,
I don't know if people are
sorry.
put on notice or not.
Dick and Danny?
well, the last truck we had, we only had one person interested in it,
Okay.
and that was who we sold it to. And the way I look at it, whoever comes up with the money, they can have it, you know.
I feel if we're gonna get the price of what they're gonna give us for a trade-in on the truck, let it go.
No, and I agree with that thought process, as long as there's no binding issues. You know.
Right.
Like, and Gabby brings up a great point, and as long as we've got a verbal from them
Yeah.
stating
I-
that
I
that
talked to the
price,
dealer, yeah.
doesn't have any, detriment to us selling it on our own.
The only,
I think
we
it's
haven't
fine.
signed no really paperwork for the trade, I mean, other than the fact that we had a purchase agreement. So, I mean, that, they haven't come down, we haven't titled it over to them or nothing, so, I mean, the truck is still in the air, for whoever we wanna sell it to.
But I think it also lends the question in the future, if we are going to have equipment that we are looking to trade, do we somehow communicate it to the,
Well, it's usually.
Right.
Yeah.
and whether it's advertised or it's, but
Well,
just so
usually
that
it's word of
everyone
mouth,
has.
everybody comes around and
Yeah.
say, the
That's the
last
thing.
truck they were only gonna offer is 22,000, and I got 30 for it, so I mean, it's,
So I think that's a separate issue
Good.
from the sale of the truck to
Fair
Vermont Roadworks. And I think what we are talking about is the sale at $60,250. The, covering the cost of legal fees for a bill of sale that absolves the town of any responsibilities. And is there, and a certified check for the sale. Is that? A cashier check? I did. Legal fees, cashier's check, and sale price of $60,250.
Intended for, we're comfortable with those terms.
And they just entered.
They just walked into the room, so,
Hi,
so,
do you mind signing in? Anybody who hasn't signed in, if you could please do that, thank you.
so to recap for Ted and Tara and Fred, sorry. We are at the end of a discussion about the sale of the truck to the two of you, or to Vermont Roadworks, for the $60,250. Plus the cost of legal fees for getting a firm bill of sale that transfers the title of the truck to you as is, with no further obligations to the town once the road commissioner has taken the town equipment out of the truck, and cashier's check from the bank for the sale of the truck. So, is there a motion for?
I make the motion that we sell the truck to Vermont Roadworks, Fred and Tara Cheney, for $60,250 with the following, the legal paperwork.
Covering the cost of the legal?
Yeah, cost of the legal and the certified check, and as soon as it clears and Danny gets everything out of it that the town owns, they can pick it up.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any,
Dick, you probably shouldn't vote.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
I'll
You
second
Do you have a
it.
conflict?
Not really, but,
Well, you listed it as a conflict on your.
well, yeah, That was last year, I
Thank
don't know if it's gonna be this
Okay.
year or
No,
not.
I'm just calling out what was, I tried.
No, 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 I
But
appreciate
you
that. I will second.
Listed,
You,
so-
then you can't vote.
I will second it.
Thank you for it.
It's a family thing.
I think you should recuse yourself,
Yeah.
like, on the record, because if you do work for them.
Yeah, you might wanna,
I will recuse myself as I worked for Vermont Road last summer.
So is there any more discussion before we take a vote?
I would just say that I think we need to have a procedure in place, because I'm a little uncomfortable with how this happened,
I agree.
for the future.
Yeah,
That's my only comment.
okay. But I actually wanted to separate those two things out, one from the sale and one.
But they're sort of, I mean, I understand, but they're sort of interconnected with what we're doing. It's true, it's not on the agenda. Add it for next time, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And Dick is abstaining. Thank you. Welcome, you're done. GIS maps, Jeremiah? I never see anybody do
So I
this.
guess Danny's gonna hand out this, there's two sets of maps, I guess. And I'll be talking about both of them in a minute. So they look pretty much identical.
They're two, oh, you're supposed to compare
I'll just share with you. Okay.
internal and public.
I'll be around tomorrow.
I'll stop.
Oh, I know what they do.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Take care, have a good night. So we're not going to the other room?
No, I think it's easier for everybody if we kind of stay in here. If people want to look at the final product of what GIS is printed, the printed versions of the maps, they can go in the other room. I left them out. Essentially, we're here because GIS has fulfilled their obligation in terms of, like, the listers see that their obligation to the town for going and providing the updates until 2005. We went back till 2005 with all of our maps on the wall, and so all of the map updates have been added to the new maps. We realized when going through the updates that there was by going through the property records, it goes back to around 1996. So
What is it? The
um,
update, the
the
required
update that
updates?
we're gonna need is actually a broader scope than we originally anticipated. So what we're gonna do, we've talked to GIS, or, well, what we're talking about doing is they're able to roll in older map changes into the new maps. Like, we don't have many map changes a year, which map changes involve, like, subdivisions and parcel, people buying abutters and parcel mergers. So we don't have that many of those a year, maybe
What, 2,
3 to
4?
5. And
Okay.
so typically, they're used to working with municipalities doing like 30 or 40. So the goal is to kind of just add 30 or 40 of these changes every year until we're caught up, instead of, contracting out to get, a separate fee for each. And they're saying they're willing to do that, but,
So this is gonna be part of your
on their maintenance, there's
agreement?
no additional fee to the town for this. They've just said, you guys are gonna go back further, and we'll include that as long as, we don't give them 100,
Yeah.
or, kind of like what we did here. And actually, I meant to, I'll email you the amount we actually did. We got quoted on a smaller number of parcels, then they actually did a lot more map changes than they were required to through the contract. So we uncovered, no additional charge. It's all included on, So, so right now, Main Street GIS is offering up a public and an internal version of the GIS software. Really, the public version is kind of a stripped down version of the GIS, which just has the parcel ID, the address, and the acreage primarily on it. Whereas the internal will have a lot more features, such as, like, I left the owner name on that printout, for instance, which wouldn't be available to the public. So the listers are kind of recommending that we allow the public version to be out on the internet, because it's pretty, Wyndham Regional almost has a similar version. They have the E91 address, which is a public on the internet, which anyone can go search and find anybody's address. And then they actually have a parcel overlay of GIS too. So it's really not any information that's not already out there, but you know, we just wanted to make the select board aware that we're gonna do it. We don't wanna just, you know, do something and then ask for permission or.
And it's in keeping with most other towns do that
Right.
have this resource available.
It would be much less than other towns do.
Yeah, actually. It's
And
There'd be no names, there'd be no personal information, the property record cards. And this is stuff that can be accessed at home via the internet. The public terminal we have in there, you can get all the information. If you come into the office and ask to sit down in there, then you can see everything we've
and
had.
it's internal.
Then you see the internal, so it's a little confusing because by public, we do call this the public terminal, but you can see everything. But if you're at home or if you're a lawyer doing a title search, you're not going to get all that information. You have to come here to get the whole story.
so,
So what's the downside to doing it? You know, from your perspective.
I
either one.
don't think there's any real downside. I mean, what the real downside would be is if, you know, the question is, do we allow the internal one to be public? And that's going to be the ultimate question. And
How much information do we put on the internet?
So, can I just ask a question if that's okay? If you were to have the internal one be public, would that then have searchers not have to come into the office?
right, there's
So
a
then
question-
Penny would lose fees from that.
Right, there's a
So
question
there's
of
a
how to
revenue
monetize
piece.
it, how to
Yeah.
monetize it, and we've talked about certain things like maybe charging a flat rate for a password that would give you access to the internal.
Like an
And
annual?
we're just trying to figure out a way, if that's something the town wants to do, is, you know, we realize that there's time that title searchers come in and, you know, are here and we make some money. I don't know, I mean, this is something we haven't gone into depth with. I don't know how much money is generated from a title searcher. And I don't know, you know, what the appropriate fee would be for this password. So,
Are you you're looking it up, how much we made last year?
Can I ask a question in the meantime? So if there's a terminal here where people would come in and get the internal information to anyone who walks in off the street, so it'd be publicly accessible
Yes.
that way, would there be fees charged?
no, but just the time that,
If you want to print it, I guess that's where
Yeah,
people
there's
pay for it.
Search and copy fees are $37.50.
Okay.
But you can look at it and make notes, or if you're savvy, I guess you could email yourself a screen grab.
I mean,
But-
is there a way to do, I mean, is there a way like Brattleboro, you go online and you pay for when you print? For
yeah, that's
example?
for land records.
Yeah,
But if you print at home, you don't pay for it.
you pay online. So I can be at my computer and I paid $3 a page to print.
Yeah. But
To
their
my credit
property
card.
record cards are free. So the information, their property data in Brattleboro, they have a stripped down version that they offer for free. You just can do a search on any property and get the assessed value, the sketch. And that's just, and a lot of towns have that.
I think it's a
Yeah.
little bit of a privacy issue. It just makes the information a little bit harder to get, even though you can still get it.
Is this information in the grand list though?
The details are in the grand list, yes.
So
But
that's
it's
all-
not the
that's
sketch,
already
yeah,
So
but not
you
the
don't- You have to
sketch.
put two and two together.
Right.
Yeah, you have to do a little bit of work to get it.
You don't get the sketch of the house, you don't get the property values. Oh, you do get the property values.
Yeah. It's just a question of, do you offer it up, everything all at once and just give it out there? Or do you make people go through the process of finding it?
So,
and putting it in?
could you backtrack a bit? You said that this public document shows much less than other towns do.
Yes.
Do other towns, do they show more of the whole internal document?
Yeah, I mean, we just had them do a public and an internal for this discussion primarily because typically they just do one version, you know, like
GIS.
GIS, sorry. Yes, the
But-
GIS.
So other towns have the,
I don't know of anyone that just does a public version, but I wanted to, you know, because privacy is an issue and I don't want to be the one or the departments, you know, so I just want to bring it to everyone's attention is
so
that,
privacy is an issue, but people who know how to do it, if they look on the grand list or they look on the internal, on the public map, they would be able to get the information that they want, or they can come into the office and pay a fee to get the information. So privacy is not really an issue.
right.
It's making access to the
Convenience, I
information.
guess.
Yes, it's convenience and it's access to information that's the issue. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's a fair barrier.
Yeah, I don't, like, I'm just allowing for options.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to sway in one way or another. It's available with other towns and other municipalities, this information. You can get tax bills at other municipalities and everything. We don't have that yet, but we're getting to the point where we could add those features where you could have a survey attached to this GIS system, a tax bill attached to this, or any other
Titles and deeds.
titles and deeds.
Ask,
Anything
do we
could be
have access
attached to
title
that.
and deed?
Not now, but eventually we
You
will.
could just
You
scan
could.
it. Yeah.
Though all of this is public information,
Yeah,
bottom line, I'd be hesitant to say it ought to be on a computer so anybody can just look it up.
Has
Without
Penny been
coming into the
invited
office.
to this conversation?
Yeah, she has. And
Has who?
Does she have Penny? Since she's town clerk,
Yeah.
she's sort of.
yeah, we
is
were
uniquely
just
tied to
really
this.
getting the GIS and not really, it wasn't to really get into this part of the discussion. It was kind of saying that there's these two versions out there, and then we need to discuss how to monetize this if we want to as a town or not. I mean, we just wanted to make the select board aware that GIS has fulfilled their obligation by getting the maps done and by getting the GIS. How we're going to access that, that's kind of a new conversation, but, and we're willing to, we haven't really done a thorough investigation, I guess.
so are we agreed that the issues are access of information, monetizing the information, and that's basically it, those two issues. And I think it would make sense to have
The
you
town
all
clerk.
with Penny present a proposal to the town.
Yep.
Like, what are the, access to information, it's all public. So the question is, does the select board want to be seen as making it more difficult for people to access the information or easier?
Or if
And-
they want the town to be compensated or not. I mean,
Yes.
that's kind of, it's a decision that, I don't know who makes it, I don't.
Did you look up the number, Katie?
Which,
For how much they make by
the-
selling?
just searching copies is $37.50.
But then there's also time they charge an hourly rate, right?
That's included in there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they don't parse out the.
$37,000?
No, 3,700.
We wish.
Yeah. It's
So if
it's not
there's a way
huge.
to
It's not huge by any
recoup
means.
that, is it worth selling it to professionals so that way they don't have to come in? I mean, you look at it from an access point, if you're paying an attorney to drive in, they're gonna charge the taxpayer
Yeah.
that hourly rate. That's a lot higher than, the $1 or $2. But I'm just saying that as an example.
I think it would be interesting, as Gabby pointed out, to investigate what Brattleboro does and other towns are in terms of
Yeah.
paying for the, ease of access. Because we're not trying to hide anything.
Right.
And it seems like it's already out there.
Well, a
But
lot
in
of
a
it's
different
already out
form.
there. It's a question of, it could be a question of just what the town wants to be made available, and we can restrict and not. And that's kind of, you can strip it down or add as many features as you want. We just gave probably the most basic as an option, and then the other one's the comprehensive.
Does Main Street have those solutions for charging people to access that information?
We asked him, and he said that since there are two different versions, it would probably, it's really just a password that you're selling. I mean, it wouldn't be you get into in-depth tracking, and could this person sell the same password? I mean, it's like Netflix. You can sell the same people use the same password. But anyway, it was mainly just to discuss that we have this capability now. We don't want to make it just kind of go ahead and put it out there, and then all of a sudden everyone
Does Main Street provide the mechanism to charge through their
That's what I was.
software?
That's what I.
Or
That's
is
my
it a
question.
separate third
No, they
party
don't.
that we'd have to work with to,
No, they currently don't.
so, does Brattleboro use Main Street?
No.
Okay, so they might have that through their software.
Yeah, they use.
Does anybody use Main Street GIS that charges for it?
I mean, there's more. There's Montague and Greenfield. I don't know if they charge. I don't think they charge for it
So I think that might be a discussion
for a later date. I was just.
a proposal from Penny and the listers as how to do this going forward. Meanwhile, I think that GIS seems to have delivered well and on time, and more than they contracted for, which I think we
Yeah.
completely appreciate.
Yeah, in a day where there's more, we didn't get charged for it. I think we did. The town of Guilford did all right with the amount of work that was done for
Great.
compensation.
Ron,
Should we
Are
ask
people in the peanut gallery allowed to ask questions?
you certainly are.
So, the software that you guys are talking about, the town paid for that, right?
that? Yes.
So is there a possibility that Guilford residents who have already paid for this software and this service could get free access to that versus someone from outside, say a real estate agent in Brattleboro, that would be paying to get it? Because we've already paid for the software as a taxpayer.
Yeah, I mean, if we wanted to go that way, provide proof of residence or
Yeah, I don't know how
ownership
we-
or something like that.
Tax bill number.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean,
No, I think
but you
that's
know
a
what, I think
good
that's
point.
great, I think that's
It's a
one
great
of the
point.
questions that should be considered in this kind of an analysis and presentation.
And then you call up to Penny and she just tells you over the phone your access.
Yeah.
Should we ask for permission to make the public version online and go live with that, or we're not ready to talk
Yeah,
about
well,
that?
we can, is the public version, do you think that would be?
With the minimal information.
I really, like I said before, I could probably pull all this together with 2 websites. Wyndham Regional has E911 on it and this parcel information. Ours is just more, the parcel information is more accurate because we just had our maps done. But the E911 is what the addresses are on that map from. They pull that layer from the E911. It's not like something new is what I'm saying.
I think it's most useful to landowners and townspeople who want to check what the town thinks the boundary lines are.
And for residents, I mean, as well, like property owners, just being able to look and see what their abutters are and what we have on file, without having to come in here.
Well, they don't get the butters information, they don't get names and addresses.
Right, but they know who their neighbors are, maybe not. But I mean, they know where the parcel hypothetically is, and they could say, they got this wrong, and bring it to our attention and correct it. I mean, that's another way of getting better data.
So you are ready to put,
The pub-
at minimum, the public version up on a website, and you would like a
The
motion
to do that.
to allow the listers to do that? Is there a motion?
I'll move to allow the listers to, I guess go live with the public version of the GIS maps, is that GIS maps?
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? I have a question. How will you let people know that this is up?
We can go on the website, is easiest thing, and probably make it available on Front Porch Forum and maybe the next Gazette article. I guess it's typical ways we let people know.
Great.
There'll be more people accessing the website with the reappraisal, so that'll generate more consciousness about it.
And you also have a public hearing coming up that you can talk to people.
The public hearing was 2 weeks ago. It was April 28th.
Oh, I missed it.
So yeah, we sent out.
There'll be another one.
We'll probably have another one. Usually the most interest happens when assessed values come out. Then that's the bigger meeting.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thanks.
And we should all take a wander into the lister's office when they get
There's
the new
pretty
tax
big
maps
maps
up
in
on the
there.
wall, because they're awesome compared to what was there.
New maps are up?
Like, awesome, they will
Cool.
be. They just got them literally like 2 hours ago.
The next thing on the agenda is the elimination of the town service officer position, according to House Bill 575, which was effective, and it will be effective July 1st of 2016. Katie sent us an email that explained the description of the role of town service officer, which is not the health officer. And this position has been eliminated. Do I understand that correctly? By the state legislature.
Did we have a town
Maybe we
service
don't have
officer?
one.
Yeah, we have.
We do?
Richard Davis has been the town service
Both?
officer for years, yeah. He and Susan used to be it when Susan was alive and Richard. He's also now the health officer, but he's always been the town service officer.
So I think we simply need a procedural motion to eliminate that
16
position.
years, maybe. Long time, I dug back in the book.
is the town service officer, what probably used to be the person that took care of the needy in times of.
It says right in that description, is that-
That's what it said.
and the
People
state-
who
and the state
are in
said
need of
that-
food or in need of
Yeah.
shelter, and that sort of benefit.
Ed
that
Curtis
next.
probably was the last active.
So I think that's now under the aegis of Guilford Cares and other.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And
it goes
Richard
to the
does the
state,
reheat
too.
program,
State,
you know,
too, yeah.
the,
Well, I'm thinking more of the overseer of the poor, so I stand corrected on that. The overseer of the poor used to do all of that, and now the state does it, so yeah.
So I'll make the motion to eliminate the town service officer per bill H575 effective 7/1/16.
Second.
Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? I would like a motion to go into executive session to,
What about the
Do you wanna
HSS
do-
contract renewal? You skipping the agenda again?
I'm sorry. No, I'm not. It's the next thing, but I'm going to add the RERP first
yeah. There you
into.
We also need to talk to the,
Oh, HSS, I thought we did, whipping right up. Excuse me, everybody,
it's okay.
once more. HSS contract renewal, town garage security system, you're after that. And we got a copy of the Home Security Service LLP service agreement, which looks like it has not been modified since 2002.
It's the same one every year.
It's the same
thing.
one.
Same one.
Although
It doesn't
I will
even
say
name
this
the
is the first
town.
time I've ever seen, I've never seen it before.
The bill,
You probably just sign it typically and send it back, do you?
that's the first time I've seen that one.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
But the other one that comes in every year is through Central Station, and that they charge you for a fee for that. I mean, that's just, every year you get that
That's the
one.
calls, what you get in
Yep.
case something goes off, burglar alarm, fire
Or
alarm.
like the other night when the power
Power
went
went
out, I
out.
got 2 calls to go up and reset the alarm, so.
So, assuming that this HSS agreement is with the town of Guilford, even though it doesn't say that.
I'm writing it on there right now.
Right.
Because it doesn't even, and it doesn't even have a term listed.
No,
No,
it
it
has
is.
nothing.
That's
That's
the
why,
weirdest
It's an
contract.
annual-
I thought there was
agreement I've
something
ever
more to
seen.
be disclosed
I'm like,
tonight.
it's why? It's not really, it's not the strongest contract.
You know, maybe
we've ever
instead
had.
of doing 04/12/2016, we could date it from now until 2017, 12 months from now.
That's usually a yearly.
It just doesn't say it, Danny.
No,
It's
don't
like
say it
a
on
really,
Well, they're the one that installed this security system years ago, and the other day I told them I was having trouble with it. Well, they ended up coming out, and put a new battery in the, well, it's got a battery backup. And the battery had never been changed since we put it in, so.
Do we use alarm.com services? It says if your system will utilize alarm.com services, please check an initial below. Or do you wanna call them and ask about that? I don't know.
Well, so I'll call them, because
All right.
the other outfit's out of Stowe, Vermont, that monitors everything. And then
This
it comes
is the
back to
only
the
thing-
Brattleboro radio, Central Station, that's who I get the calls from,
from Stowe?
yeah.
I'm gonna guess that we don't. Is this
I
all
don't-
that you got from
That's
them?
all that was in
Cause you
the,
would've gotten a schedule with it,
yeah, that was all that was in the bill.
So, yeah, it
but.
says attached schedule, and so we're assuming no.
I'm gonna guess no.
I think we're looking for a motion to approve the annual contract.
I'll make a motion to approve the HSS contract renewal for the town garage security system for another year, 12 months.
And then in tonight's warrant, you will see a bill for home security from Stowe. I mean, that's in here for tonight's warrant.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? No, thank you. RERP.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you. So we have some funds that need to be, for which expenditures need to get approval from the state, and the expenditures need to be completed by May 31st. You're looking at me confused. It's the Department of Homeland Security. We need to get authorization for the.
I have to have it submitted to Karen May. I don't know, she works for the state, but I don't know what. I mean, she takes care of the RERP committees.
Yeah, she's Department of Homeland Security.
Department of Homeland. I have to have it submitted to her by the 31st
Of May, right.
of May.
Which is the weirdest thing.
I know, it
because
is,
the
because
grant ends
June
June 30th.
30th, but
But you know, they
it's,
did the same thing to us last year.
so,
Because they thought there wasn't going to be any money for this current
Sure.
fiscal year.
And so it's a weird, this is the weirdest grant submission I've ever seen.
But it was a repeat of last year.
so there's been
A
discussion.
grant
It's
submission?
It's a
Confused with
every
everything
year, we get money.
Expenditures.
Yeah, we get money through the Radiological Emergency Response Program, which is basically VY money that goes to the state and gets redirected to the 10 EPZ towns. So we get money every year. And the grant period is July 1 through June 30th. So typically, for any other grant, if that was the grant period, you had from July 1 to June 30th, on which you could make expenditures related to the grant, and then you'd submit up until June 30th. You could get invoices dated that, so, but they're asking for them May 31st.
Did you got that email, right?
I did.
That
Yep.
request?
Yep.
So this is just expenditures, like requests for expenditures.
Yeah, my only question was, do we have to ask her for permission to spend money on certain things? Like if you're using some of the money that was allocated for drills.
Well, there's two things. There's the training and stipends, and then there's the
Right.
not disbursement.
It's an annual.
Discretionary
Yeah,
spending.
annual discretionary.
So we still have about $1,000 left in the discretionary thing.
Is there money left in the drills?
There, I don't know exactly what that number is, but there's a small amount. And I was gonna, the 24th, when we're meeting on the 24th, I was gonna use a little bit to get refreshments for that meeting from that training pile. And then I need to get batteries from the other pile.
So discretionary, we've talked about 4 priorities now. One is batteries for
The equipment, AOC, the
AOC.
radios, and the bullhorn things. Because the current batteries that I have expired in 2011. So if I buy Duracells now, they come with it, they expire in 10 years. So I just don't want to use 2011 batteries and depend on that to notify
Right.
people.
So we have, the priorities are batteries, we have talked about Wi-Fi at the garage
Yeah.
for, because it is the 3rd emergency center and also makes sense for all the things that they're doing. Radio repeater, which Danny can talk about, and orange cones. So I'll turn the radio repeater thing over to you, Danny.
Talking to me?
Radio repeater.
Oh, we've been having trouble with our radio, and because the repeater's over at the shop. So we have an opportunity to put the radio up on top of Green River Hill. There's a pole up to Dickie's house. He said we could put the radio up there where the siren used to be. I got an estimate, right around $1,300 to move everything up there. What they're gonna do is put a new antenna, and all the other stuff that's over the garage are gonna take up. And we will have an electric bill because it's gonna have to run power. Because that line has its own power source going to it, to that pole. So which, I don't know, whatever the radio draws for juice, it can't be any more than $15 a month, I don't know. But I mean, we are gonna have power, have to have electric there. And they left all the boxes on the pole, so all the repeater stuff can go in each box. So we don't have to go buy any special weatherproofing boxing. And basically that's about it, and he would like to start on it tomorrow if everything was approved and everything's okay. But it's up to Dickie on what, you know.
I'm sorry,
fires.
that's not Dick's property, right? It's Brian's property?
Well, Brian, no, yeah.
Who's Brian? What's the property owner?
Yeah, it's up to the top.
So did the property owner give us permission, like an easement to come there and fix and do things or something?
Just say the previous property owner gave permission.
Nothing formal.
I'm just a little
So-
worried about putting up town equipment on a private person's property
No.
without having an agreement, because they could sell it. And
Does it
then,
have to have
It could be a problem.
UPS?
no.
So-
There's a power plug, you'll have to-
I don't know,
Ron, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
I was just asking, Dan, does it have to have some sort of uninterruptible power supply? Does it need something that kicks on if there's a power failure? Or does the repeater die if the power fails?
I almost think it has a battery backup. That's something I was meant to ask him today. I gotta call him tonight and let him know what's going on, so.
They
I
have
just-
a battery backup. All the radios, all the base radios should have a battery backup.
See, over at the shop, the power goes out. We got the generator kicks on.
Right, the generator kicks on. And I guess that was what my question was do we need to put a generator there to power this
No, we
router?
wouldn't,
No other
no.
one has
There'd be just a battery.
Okay.
They
So-
shut the power, had power cut off, and then they took the siren down, so it has to be put back.
But reconnected. All right, but we're talking about Wi-Fi, repeater, the cost for installing the repeater already exceeds the amount that's left in the RERP fund, and batteries. So we need to figure out how, the first question is, do we want to do the repeater? And then the second question is, how do we pay for it?
How much is left in the remaining funds?
No, we only got like,
About $1,000.
in the,
I don't know.
in the RFP account.
Already about $1,000. And it's gonna take a couple hundred to buy those batteries.
So basically, you're talking about $700 or $800 left in that account. You don't know how much it would, do you know how much it would cost to have Fairpoint bring Wi-Fi to the?
I don't know, whatever, I don't know, I know at my house, it's only like $12 more a month. I mean, we can live without the Wi-Fi, I mean, that's, the only reason I suggested Wi-Fi, because the man come down to hook his computer up into the truck to reset things, to reprogram it, and he had to go through his cell phone,
Right.
because we didn't have Wi-Fi for him to connect off
Right,
of.
any repairs on the trucks now has gotta be
I
done.
know,
on
but
the
no, I
computer.
think it makes a lot of sense. So we're looking for a more general motion, I think.
So maybe can we, I'm still a little confused about what we're gonna spend our money on. It
Right.
doesn't seem like it's set, and so I'm wondering if there can be, someone can explain to me what the priorities are and what the estimates of each of the expenditures are.
I think
so that
they're
we can
all
approve it.
priorities, but
Well, if we don't have enough money for all of them, then
Well,
we can pick some.
you know, my budget, when I do the budget, I look at the overall total figure. You know, some items we overspend on, as long as I stay within my total budget, I mean, if I go over whatever it costs to do the radios, that's, you know.
But that's not your budget, right? That's RERP?
No.
No, the radios will be coming out of my budget, they're just looking some way to,
Oh, so I'm totally confused.
So
Yeah, I was
I
too.
can help explain. Do you want me
Okay.
to help explain?
Sure.
So I think you wanna install, make the move for the repeater regardless.
right,
I think you want Wi-Fi installed at the garage regardless.
whatever, I mean, like I said, we can put it off.
The only-
Reasonable.
So it doesn't make sense.
So there happens to be some money that could potentially be left on the table for this grant. So what we're looking to do is,
Utilize
the money that's left on the table to help augment
help
our
offset.
town's.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
offset some
thank
of our
you.
town spending.
Okay, that makes
So
more
I think
sense.
that they're all, perhaps the only thing that might fall out of this are the orange cones.
But I think
Or
we
maybe
need,
they
but we
won't,
need to
maybe
be
they'll get
in
orange cones
agreement.
anyway.
We need to be in agreement that these are priorities. Ron buys his batteries, and then the next use of those funds are to be allocated to,
X, Y, or Z.
Right.
yeah.
Right. And,
And
but
that's-
that's sort of a bit of a caveat with the grant, it is supposed to be used toward remediation or for an emergency, for the EOC, an Emergency Operations Center, or something similar like the boards that have that say the road closed or whatever, that sort of thing. So I personally think the cones fall more into that category. I don't know what cones cost.
Well, the-
All you have to do is email her and say, we're gonna have money left on the table. This is a project that we would like to do and utilize our ARP fund to do it. Will you approve and authorize this expenditure before we move forward? And they've done that in the past. We've asked them to take money that's been allocated for training that's left on the table and said, hey, we'd like to buy this piece of equipment. and reshuffled it
I
around.
think to go back to 2008 when we had the ice, where the radios were the only communication we had, that repeater up there probably would fall sort of under that umbrella and be an emergency.
Right.
It's all how you
Your
couch it.
radio that you
Right.
have in the
I'm happy to
EOC,
send an email.
is over here.
Yeah.
But I think Katie's point's well taken.
Yeah, no,
So
no,
there's
Peter
three
is
different
over-
conversations
that
going
is-
on.
That radio is town-wide, that goes, even the fire department uses that.
I thought it went to Streeter Hill.
No, that's all, that repeater is over at the shop.
Okay.
So, that's when you get on that radio at the EOC, you're using this repeater over here.
Okay. So there's not an antenna on the firehouse?
There is, but it comes up to here and then it bounces off and
Oh,
goes
okay.
out. You can do it two ways. You can either use the repeater or change it to a different channel. It says TA,
Uh-huh.
and that's vehicle. That's a mobile vehicle to vehicle.
So if
Okay.
we have no power,
Right. Then you switch over.
to that.
Yeah, you switch
Okay.
over to vehicle to vehicle.
Okay.
So, I think we're agreed, and I'm not sure that we need a motion, but I think we're agreed that your first priority is the batteries, that maybe Katie can write the email to the, asking about the allocation of the remainder of the funds for the repeater installation, and that we then look into the cost of Wi-Fi for the garage, and if you feel like you need cones, that's another expenditure that we could approve at a separate time. It certainly is not a rush to do it before May 31st.
Right.
I don't know that we need a motion on that right now. I think
Okay.
Well, if we're gonna use our ARP funding, we have to get.
we don't have the approval for it.
Yeah, as soon as we do. Do you have a, priority
Yeah,
batteries?
batteries and then the repeater,
Okay, perfect.
some portion of the repeater installation costs, right?
1,300 was that you said?
Yeah, you gave me an estimate.
Yeah, and the money's gonna be used up anyway, so I mean, we can.
Yeah, it's, the estimate exceeds the amount of funds available, so the rest of it has to come out of the highway budget. But
Highway, yeah.
I think it's budgeted already, one way or another, right? So we don't really have to, yeah. Okay.
I guess my only concern again is if we're gonna move the radio onto private property, and that's gonna be used potentially in a town emergency, and that we're gonna need to maybe not repeatedly, but on occasion, go on the land and make sure like that it's working or repair it, then I think we need to have an agreement with the landowner.
In writing. I
Yeah.
mean, to me, that makes sense too.
I agree.
Even if it's a friendly situation.
It might be friendly now, but they
Right,
can
you never
die
know.
and somebody else can get the property and then we have a radio and something.
And actually, that was when VUI was relinquishing all of these, that was one of the things that we had talked about. When did we do that?
January, February.
All right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
felt like I was not.
Yeah,
quite
no,
here,
you were
kinda here.
I'm almost here. So will you also, let's see, be in touch with the property owner about some sort of agreement?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to probably have an easement.
That's what I would think. I don't know if
An
it's an
access
easement or,
easement.
just
It's
access.
just-
That's what I was saying.
It's just like a utility.
A utility easement, but it's just for the town. It's just like for our culverts, you know.
Well, I imagine VY had the same.
See, if you want, well,
Yeah.
That's what I was blown away. I'm like, well, do you have a copy of the easement? They said we didn't have it.
let me back up to when they put that siren up there, that's what I owned it then, I still basically own it now, but I said, whenever the sirens go, the pole is behind, and they said, yes, you can do whatever you want with it. So the option was either to put the repeater up there or, which, because the one over here doesn't always repeat quite well, or maybe get a little Verizon and put some,
So you
but I mean,
probably,
basically it's my property.
Years
But you're not the
ago,
owner.
we used to have the radio up top of it, it was the next place up.
Even though.
Whoever's on the record,
Sorry.
we need to get them to
Yeah.
sign something, that's what I'd say.
so I think before you tell somebody to go ahead tomorrow, you need to get a verbal agreement from the property owner and then a written agreement that we can figure out how to do.
It'll get recorded on the deed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
So
if the
that-
property, I
It
mean,
transfers
he could
past
sell
his
the
hands.
property
Yeah.
tomorrow if he wanted to.
No, I couldn't.
Technically, he could,
Could.
because you're not an owner.
And then that's a family dispute. I'm just saying legally, he can do that.
Legally,
And
we
you
need
want
to
you
be
can attach
correct.
to the deed. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's-
Do we want to go into an executive session now about HSS, or do we want to do the rest of that?
Wait,
next?
HSS or?
About the tax sales, or
No,
can
let's do
we,
the town server stuff.
can we do the other stuff first? We did not talk about it, change the agenda order, but I think we're done. Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome. Y'all have a nice evening.
So
Thanks, Ron.
we will table the executive session about tax sales until we go into our other executive
Okay,
session.
you wanna move that?
Town office server.
Okay, so our server is not supported any longer by any software, and we are running out of space. In addition to that, we have some configuration problems with it that primarily hinder Pete and Penny's work. So they get kicked off a lot, they can't get in a lot. It's been a mess, and so what we're looking to do is work with someone who has specialty in servers and networks, get them to provide us with a new server and network all of us, so that we're using the appropriate size for the type work that we do for all of the different users that we have, so that it's a secure network with all of our access points. Because right now, our access points are all separate, but because of the way it's configured, we can't get in on our separate, it's just very messy. So I've been working with Nemrick and with Vermith Computer Solutions, both of them very reputable. We've called other towns to find out who use both to get a vibe on how they feel in terms of their service level, and both are excellent. So it's really at this point just getting prices from either of them for comparable equipment, and I hate to say probably just picking the lowest one and going with them because it's an apple to an apple. So that's mainly what I've been working on during the last week. I touch base with Pete and Penny and their needs. I touch base with the listers and their needs. So all of the different users, I'm sort of the low end of the ladder in terms of the types of programs. I touch everybody else's and use everybody else's, but I'm not the primary user. I sort of surf on their stuff. So they're all good with where we are to date. So I'm just really looking for you to, we do have money. We have money in office equipment. And we have a lot of money unspent in technical support. So those are two categories. If you wanted to pull money from it to pay for it, you have more than enough to do it.
Do we have two proposals, or are you just gonna grab one?
I don't have two yet. I'm waiting on the second one.
Okay.
I have one. I'm just waiting on the second one. So as soon as, and I'm happy to partner if you want to be my point person to look at the two. And
But we're basically talking about approving the need and going with the lowest bidder, since
Correct.
there's not much difference between equipment.
we're not backing
service.
up properly, which is
Yeah, backing up is a big deal.
freak out right now.
Um,
So I feel like I want to get it
How
done
about,
quicker than 2 weeks if I can do that.
yeah, how about access from outside? That's,
There's the ability to do that. It's you use a VPN. I don't know if anybody's ever done that before. It's the same.
and if you want to go off yahoo.com, will it be easier to do that
I
now?
don't know that. I think that would be us sort of jumping on like a Microsoft sort of environment where we would have Outlook.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure we could work with anyone to provide that.
And what's the general price range? I know you don't have estimates or all of your estimates per se, but like $5,000 to $6,000, is that what we're looking at?
I'd say probably $500 to $7,500 in that range.
And what's our total of the,
Wow.
what's the total of the technical support budget that we have remaining and equipment budget? Sorry,
That's okay.
just want to make sure we're in the same
Oh, it's in our,
ballpark.
I was gonna say I'm gonna
It's in
pull up the Dropbox actually.
I know, I can't remember, I probably
Here,
read
I
it.
have it right now. There is, and that was sort of why when I sent this batch of financial reports to you guys, I had a balance remaining. Because we're getting to close to the end of the year.
technical is 4,600, and technical support and office maintenance, we have 2,000.
Actually, office equipment
Office
is 1,300. 1,400 in the bank. And we have a lot of money left over in office equipment contract, which you could also use. So I mean, there's definitely,
Okay, so we're in the right ballpark range.
Yeah,
And
we
we're
are.
not going to expect to have to use any more technical support presumably in the next couple months?
a little bit for Cynthia.
Nemrick?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Not much though.
And we have no other office, like, we don't wanna buy a, not photocopier, I know we bought one last year, but we have nothing else on our plate that's
Not
Penny
that
or
I'm
Peter
aware
or
of.
somebody is looking to
Not that I'm
purchase.
aware of.
Okay.
And honestly, I hate to say it, it should get backseated because we need some, our data is sort of, our machines aren't being appropriately backed up. I don't care because I don't put anything, I put everything on the server. But our individual workstations are not, and we've lost data before and it's not a fun experience. Yeah, it's a
Not to
nightmare.
burden you with this question, but,
No, no.
I mean, this is the type of thing I would think that there would be money available through the state, you know, to make a town more secure in terms of data and everything. Grant-wise,
Not
there's
that I
just
know of.
nothing out there. huh?
No, and actually
Wow.
what we're looking to do here is pretty ahead of the curve for a lot of towns.
Okay.
A lot of towns are, don't even have servers. They just sort of save it on
Okay,
their
fair
hard.
enough.
Hard
Yeah,
drive.
I mean,
No, good.
it's pretty
I'm glad we've got
interesting
the dollars to do
for
it
for
with
the
budget.
town our size, where,
Fair enough.
yeah,
Do we backing things up on like a cloud, like a Google server
Yeah,
or something
Carbonite.
right now?
carbonite. But we don't have the redundancy that
Right,
we're,
that we should.
yeah, yep.
That would be ideal.
Yep,
maybe.
and we're looking to go to new, so not just a new server, but a new service agreement with somebody different as well, so.
Got it.
So we need a motion to
Um,
allow Katie to proceed with,
Well, I would say that we don't need a motion at this point until she gets the other bid. the other
No, but
proposal.
Well, actually, I'm looking for you to approve me to move forward and then to select the lowest bidder, the lowest proposal. That's what I'm looking to do.
Of the two bids you're
Of the
gonna.
two proposals that I'm gonna get.
Yeah, I'm comfortable making that motion. So allowing Katie, and she is gonna
Yep.
touch base with you as the,
How about
Point person.
authorize me to work with Sheila?
yeah, authorizing you to work with Sheila and between you finalize what is needed in terms of updating our server system with the lowest of the two bids that you received.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I just learned last Thursday that we're not being backed up and I've been stress case
I
ever
heard,
since.
I heard that.
any more
So-
discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I'm sorry, who's second?
Troy.
Troy.
Thank you.
Dick, did I hear your aye? Or are you opposed?
I did it flat. I was thinking about is the lowest bidder always the best avenue to take.
Only because we've vetted both of them. We haven't, they both offer equal equipment and equal servicing needs. And, so we're really getting the same,
You feel they're very equal,
I do,
comparable
I do, and
companies.
I've talked to
in-
both.
in-
I've talked to
in-
both the
so,
providers, I've talked to
The
towns, other
service side of
towns, yep.
things, right.
And gotten
Good.
feedback from both, and one of them I've used before at my old job, so I'm very familiar with him,
Yep.
so I have.
But
first-
Dick, good point.
I have
I
firsthand
know what
knowledge
you
of
mean
both
by
the
that, for
providers,
sure.
yeah. One's Nemrick, who we already use, so we
Gotcha.
know our level of service that we get for them for other stuff.
Okay.
So it is really, I hate to say it, really in this instance is price, they both do networks, they both, do server upgrades, so,
Okay.
thank you.
Um,
And the town office staff thanks you, because we're pretty
No,
nervous.
Also, it's moving on something that I think Ron was really concerned about last year when he was, you know, about the security and the backup and stuff like that. So thank you for taking that up, Katie. Should we go ahead with the other three things, the solar project updates?
Yeah, because executive session, that's what we did that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you all have received a copy of the data sheet that, did you see this, Dick, that Dan Engel prepared? It was in the package that Katie sent out before the board meeting.
No.
And they're on the counter in the front office.
So
Yeah.
these
Anybody
describe,
wants to look at it.
Dan created this one-page fact sheet to make available. It's on the Guilford website, to make it available for people who've expressed concerns about the solar projects. And it's a great informative piece, and I really appreciate that he did that for us. So I think we have as many answers as we could get to the questions that have been asked about the projects to date, so.
It might be good going forward if other projects come and present, if we ask them or their provider, whatever you call it, the
Contract.
yeah, if they put together a one-pager project sheet,
I think that's
and
a good
then we
idea,
would just
yeah.
have it. to
How big
post
a
on-
project are we talking about that we would want to see
I
that?
think that
I
the
would think definitely a 500 kilowatt.
No, I know, but-
Maybe more right now, anyway.
Yeah, no, I know, but
Say again?
still.
it's 50 or.
Yeah, it's a fairly substantial, okay,
Yeah,
that
One
makes
that they'd
sense.
have to go to the public service board for.
yeah.
So
Gotcha.
to
No, I
maybe
think that makes
ask
sense.
the company that's doing it, I'm sure they can do it.
Almost down to private solars now.
Just about, yeah.
So, let's do that. I think that, I just appreciate that this was done and it is available for people to access in different methods. The next thing on the agenda is the US Route 5 bridge replacement. I missed the meeting. I asked, and I heard a verbal report from a couple of people who were there, and I asked Jill Barrett, who is the liaison person, to give us a report for tonight's meeting on the way the meeting went and next steps. And we don't have a formal report, but she sent us an email with 6 action points that came up as a result of the meeting. I know you were there, Gordon, and Katie, you were there, and Danny, you were there,
Yeah, I would
correct?
do, yeah.
I believe only 20 people were there, despite,
It was probably even less than that. I mean,
I
there
was
was more.
surprised.
I
I
know,
I was very surprised how many people didn't show up to it.
Push
Yeah.
that we got, yeah.
Yeah.
so we've had information on the website. I will just go through these 5 points quickly. And if people have questions, they can look on the website or get in touch with the town office or get in touch with Jill Barrett, and there's an email address, an address for the public information that we can put on the town website also.
It's already on the website, and I'll include it in the minutes.
Okay, so issues that were raised that they're responding to or looking into, they are not necessarily resolving them the way people want, but they're investigating the signal timing at Malfunction Juncture, the intersection of US Route 5 and VT 142. They will investigate the potential of having pedestrian access over Broadbridge during the closure period, Broadbrook during the closure period. They will explore
For emergency.
for emergency only, right?
Yeah.
Emergency responders, or something that is ADA compliant, yeah. They will explore, based on Katie's suggestion, having a collaboration meeting with the road foreman, DPW directors of the 3 affected towns to review the impacts of detours. They will identify any program, let me just see this, that the state may have to compensate businesses for losses during construction. Grants that she found is that grants to businesses are not allowed in federally funded programs, and 80% of this project is financed with federal funds. So it may be communities organizing local efforts. Explain to the town, the 5th point is explain to the town the program V-Trans has to give grants to the town to compensation for impacts on local roads. They're going to share the agency formula with us, and then review the intersect changes south of the bridge at Broadbrook and Route 5 because of the sightlines coming out of Broadbrook. So I appreciated Jill's immediate response, getting back to us, and their willingness to work with the town on all of these issues. So I don't know if there are questions. You have the emails. I can't answer them. And Katie also circulated the meeting presentation and the fact sheet. So I think
The meeting is available for you.
oh, and the meeting is available for you on
We forget that.
BCTV.
I wish that Brattleboro guy would be quiet during our Guilford meetings.
Where is that posted? aside from your website, is the state posting it on their website?
I don't think so. This is BCTV cameraman speaking. BCTV, if you go to the website, you can search. So if you put
Yeah.
Guilford or Route 5 as a search term,
You found it?
and then
That's it.
Dick found it already.
Yeah.
And you said you weren't computer literate.
No, he said he
Just
didn't
call
want
Dick
to.
Clark in Guilford and
Just call Dick Clark, he'll tell you how to find it.
Yeah, we'll give you a number.
But really, the BCTV website, you could just do a search
Yeah.
term for
Oh,
Guilford
it's
or
very
Route
easy.
5.
And he did it. So
And
If
if
you
you
imagine watching on that though, we're really.
Thank you, Ian.
And Ian, our cameraman, actually
Yeah,
was,
I could-
taped that
but-
Route 5
Wait a
bridge
minute, wasn't we
discussion
supposed to
also.
take a vote if the out-of-towner could speak? Isn't it?
Could we move on to the Green River Covered Bridge update?
Yeah. I would like to
I think,
move right
I think
on.
one of the critical issues are gonna be to that is Brattleboro.
That's gonna, that
It's
road is
not-
gonna be nasty
It's
when that
not,
bridge
it's
shuts
not an
down.
official detour, the people are gonna use it, and there's one spot
You're
down
right.
there.
One spot?
Well, one of many.
Well, that came up.
Yeah.
We have to, that road, we gotta post ourselves. The state ain't gonna post it. So what we're gonna have to do is put a sign down on Franklin Road and another one on Tyler Hill Road saying no tractor trailers or no truck traffic on Broadbrook Road.
Yes.
And then we'll have to, the Vernon will do their end.
Yeah.
So that way, we ain't got no trucks trying to come up through there.
We're hopefully covered.
Yeah.
There's one corner there, we're going to Brook.
Oh, that's right.
Pat. Somebody's gonna go in that brook.
We were talking about that in
And also, that we
transportation.
should probably consider maybe when we do that, maybe reducing the speed limit
Yeah.
down to maybe even 15 miles an hour is gonna be too fast, but I mean, we should be thinking about just for that temporary while it's closed, reducing that speed limit down
Talk
here.
about travel at your own risk.
And that's another thing I was gonna suggest, put some signs up saying travel at your own risk.
But that speed limit issue was one thing that
Right.
did come up at the meeting as well.
Okay, so all of those things I think will be covered closer to the time, not really germane to tonight's meeting, but we just wanted to make sure that the public was aware of what has taken place to date.
395 days to get it ready.
28 days.
And then the Vernon, I believe the Vernon Road foreman was present.
President of the meeting.
Yeah, it was.
Katie, Green River Covered Bridge update.
We had a site visit today that wasn't.
We had a chit chat.
We did. We had like 6 of us that gathered at the Green River Covered Bridge to meet the river management engineer who
didn't shine.
But it was nice, it wasn't snowing,
It was a
it
good
wasn't
day.
raining, it was sunny. But it was a good opportunity actually for us to talk a little bit about the project, just some preliminary stuff. I went and got Joni Seymour, who owns the Green River Bridge House. She came out, she met all the members of the crew, so she knows who they are and who she has any problems, who's the
Did you
point
tell her
people
we
for
were gonna
that.
take 6 feet of her lawn?
No, we did not.
Well, you just did.
I like Joni too much to say something like that to her.
Don't even get old with me.
And I followed up with an email to Joe Poston, the project manager for Wright. And on June 6th, they're gonna start mobilizing and they're gonna use the area, let's see, this is terrible because it's not in color. But this is coming through the Green River Covered Bridge. That little spur of road to get up to Green River Road, that's gonna be their staging area. So on June 6th, that's gonna be barricaded off. They're gonna, there's actually on the website, I added the color map. So I added some text to, Gabby and I have been emailing back and forth. She's the Green River resident email distribution sort of messenger. Yeah, so, that little segment is gonna be where they'll stage. So access still remains open, it doesn't affect Joni and, everything should be
From what
all
I understand, they are gonna put detour signs out.
right. It's in their contract.
It's in their contract. The only thing they asked, maybe we should, I'd like to put one of my electronic signs up here
Yeah,
before Sweets Pond so they can see it, and then the other one over by Heinsberg, over by Lines's.
yep.
And then the only other spot we should really have some kind of signage saying that the bridge is closed, it would be over in Halifax and down in Coleraine.
What about by Weatherhead Hollows? People know that, you know, they can take that.
Well,
left
this
at
will cover
Weatherhead
your-
Before
This, up here will cover them this way.
this way?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
that's why if you put one down by Dennison's old mill down in Coleraine, or I think just before you turn on the river road down here, with the old mill.
Yeah, by like
Put one there and then put the other one over by Gates's. There's plenty of places for them to turn around, so.
Thank you.
When are you gonna put those out, Dan?
When they get started.
Okay, so like, you're not gonna do it ahead of time just to let people know?
Well, I can put them out anytime, I mean,
Okay.
really.
I think sooner the
I was
better.
gonna say, do we
Yeah.
want to use
Can
the
you-
electronic
can you-
signs sooner to tell them?
Yeah, that's
Rich would
what I
be
was-
like by the
The only
bridge.
thing I only got 2 of them electronic signs.
Yeah, I know, but maybe by
Can
the
we use the
bridge?
highway departments?
What's that?
The
Yes.
highway departments has 2, don't they?
Pardon?
Those
Not
are
the
the
highway,
only
the
two.
fire department.
Oh, they're just little, I
Yeah,
don't wanna
steal
put them
those.
out for, that'll, somebody will end up
I'm gonna go after
stealing
the
them.
towns, cause they were bought with RERP money.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, somebody, if you put those,
They'll lift them.
Unless you wanna rent a couple more,
No.
and you're looking at like, probably.
so you're saying on the
$100 a month.
6th of June, this area is gonna be barricaded off?
Yes.
Could you email the school? You know, because that is technically the bus stop on that right there,
Okay,
okay?
cause they have to walk across the bridge,
Mhm.
correct? So they can walk
Yeah.
up there still,
They can
right?
walk and get
Yeah,
there.
they come up towards the mailbox, usually they pick them up, don't they, usually? That's where the cars are parked, the parents.
You know what, it's easy enough
Here
to
is
email
what
the
Troy's
school and let
saying.
them know without having a big discussion
Yeah.
about how they do
They're
it.
just gonna have to,
Yeah, the bus stop's up on the mill.
Yeah, which is right
I mean,
in
it's
this
like
area.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the boys had paintbrushes out today.
Yeah, but
But do we want to put signs up on the road saying bridge work starting, bridge will be closed, or bridge work starting X date?
And it is supposed to start when?
June 20th.
June 20th.
It seems a little early now,
I would put it up I
Beginning
would
of
put
June?
it up after Memorial Day. After the holidays, put the signs up. Danny, could you find out how much it costs to rent 2 more of those signs?
we'll do that.
Just find out how much it's gonna rent and find out, you know, to rent the signs.
Good idea.
anything more on the covered bridge? So Danny,
Oh, yes, I'm
Sorry.
sorry, one other detail, that the swimming area will be closed.
that was in your letter, right?
Was it? It wasn't in the
I'm
letter,
not sure
we
it's
sort of
explicit.
learned about it.
But that's what happened last time. I
Yeah,
don't think it'll surprise any residents, but we'll make it explicit and put it in the
Yeah.
email.
Yeah.
Gonna stop some people,
Well-
they still gonna go swimming.
there, yeah, it.
Again, it's a liability issue,
Yeah,
so
it
I'm
is on
sure
the
people are
website.
told.
Gabby's gonna email
Oh, yeah.
residents,
And
and
then I think we'll ask Green River Preservation Trust if we can put signs up that say no swimming.
yeah, on both sides.
Highway.
All the main roads are done being graded. We're going back to ditching tomorrow. Cause we haven't cleaned ditches in 2 years. So we're starting on Barney Hill and going up around that way and do the roads in West Guilford. Then next week, I hope to get on the other side of the covered bridge, to do that one. And of course, this time of year, we're ditching them, grading them up, and then chloriding them for the summer, so. Thursday, I'm meeting with Charlie from Renard's. Green Mountain Power and me are gonna meet over on Hale Road. Cause they got some wires they gotta sleeve, and we're gonna be looking at, I got a tree over there, it's gonna be cut. And the bridge, from what I was told this morning, was being poured today. The slab down there at their shop, so. Other than that, that's basically about what I got. I mean, as far as, you know, we're just trying to get the roads taken care of and chlorided and, you know, get them, some of them are still kind of rough here and there, but, so. Then the other thing I got too, my chloride tank down at the other shop, what I store my calcium chloride in. I bought that tank back in, or we bought the tank back in 1984. that tank is, I'm afraid it, because they do get brittle. The one that we had in the spread truck that we used to spread, one day we're going down the road and it all of a sudden just split right in half. So I'm getting prices on buying our own tanks. I'm gonna get 2 3,000 gallon tanks instead of one big one. Because when you get a big tank like that, a 6,000 gallon tank, calcium weighs 13 pounds, you know, per gallon. So you figure you get that up, you're looking at almost 50 ton of pressure on the bottom of that tank, so. But I priced tanks already, and we can buy them about $1,800 a piece. So I mean, and we'll put them back down the other garage. There is an outfit that will supply you the tanks, but you gotta be. They want a guaranteed of 20,000 gallons of material each year, and their prices on their tanks were almost $4,000. So, and I don't want to commit to something like that. And then at the end of the 3 years, you buy the tank for $1. So that's why I'm pricing our own tanks.
Good job.
So.
Thank you.
And that's, and you're gonna do that in this budget
And,
year?
and that'll come out of my chloride. Where it'll come out of. It'll just be run through chloride. Alright. So.
Knock on wood, that corner's holding.
Okay.
They graded this morning.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Other than that, that's about
Thank
all
you.
I got. As far as, we're gonna be out of town on Wednesday. We're going to the municipal show. Up in Barry, so.
Nobody on the roads.
Oh, I think Alan's gonna stay around. He said he didn't want it, so he may stay around, so.
Thank you. Anything else on highway? Thank you, Danny. Shall we do the warrants?
Sure.
Are
We
we all
make
set?
the motion
Thank
that we pay payroll of week ending 5/1/16 for $7,126.43. Payroll for week ending of 5/8/16 for $11,512.65. Expense warrant 1621 DP for $355.84. Expense warrant 1621 for $13,267.84. And expense warrant 1622 for $11,244.52. For a grand total of warrants and payroll of $43,507.28.
Second. Thank you. Were there no extraordinary items?
Not in the expenses, but the payroll was because of the stipends for RERP.
Got it.
That's why payroll was much larger.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. You
Do you want
wanna?
to just blast through communications and then you can do executive session?
Yeah, but do you want us to sign those while you're blasting through communications?
Oh, sure.
Here, let me
Maybe
grab
helpful.
them, since
Sorry.
they're right here. Blast away. Let me start with those.
Can I
Talk
talk?
while we sign?
Sure.
Go right ahead.
A couple months ago, you had an application for sportsmanning for Act 250.
Mm-hmm.
It got kicked back, it was incomplete, they need to do a bunch of stuff. Do you want me to tell you what they need to do? It's pretty lengthy, actually. They're looking for a lot more description on the history of the facility. They want the site plan. They want the location and construction details for the berm height increase. They want more information about the noise. It says, see attached documentation for mitigation study information, nothing was attached. Seeking approval for beaver dam replacement with an earthen berm, please provide evidence that A&R has reviewed the approved plan. Plan for lead mitigation, lead retrieval to reduce the potential for lead pollution. So I have to do quite a bit. I was surprised. I feel like, I don't know. It's almost like they lost some of the application. Oh, that's my tax sale, yeah. Yeah, this does go here. There is a wastewater permit for Eugene Shields. It looks like they're just not changing anything, but actually clarifying the allocations for the existing bless you structures on the different lots. So it's nothing that big. There's communication from the State of Vermont Division for Historic Preservation, the Andrew Cornguth.
Daniel Cornguth,
I
Blackburn.
do that every time I mess up his name, and I know his name is Daniel, that's what irritates me. For the Black Barn Arts.
Yep.
They deemed that it is definitely a historic site for the purpose of Act 250.
Does that have any impact on their application?
It will have, so they're gonna have to meet section 106 standards for historic preservation.
Mm-hmm.
So when they do the work, and when they present for their Act 250, they're gonna have to do all of their rehab so that it's historically sensitive.
And were they prepared for this? I mean, it seemed to me that that was something, that was how Daniel was focusing on it, but.
It was, I don't know if they have necessarily done that to this point.
Yep.
But that's sort of between them and the
Okay.
Division of Historic
Yeah,
Preservation.
no, I just was curious because they've done
Yeah.
a lot of work on this application.
And they have. But he's a consultant, so I'm sure that they're well aware of what needs to take place. The certificate of public good was issued for the 500 kilowatt. I think we already knew this, and this is just late
Yeah.
getting here.
I think
For,
it's just-
on Kirchheimer Drive, and then, the change in commingling recycling, that numbers 3 through 7 can go in regular trash now, and only 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure, I'm gonna look at every file.
I don't think anyone's gonna be aware of
Well,
that.
I'm
It's
gonna
still
tell
gonna
you
get in
what,
the 24/7 bins.
That place should end up shut down before anything is going to speak. They're $80,000 in the freaking hole, so.
And then there's the May Motley Decision Towns News, which is also on mine, if anybody wanted to look at it.
Should we thank Ellie for agreeing up there?
Oh, you should ask me. I wasn't here, so I don't even. I was out of state.
So,
We're out of
Gallup for the
town.
meeting too. The green, Route 5.
yes, Ellie has been the #1 volunteer in town, apart from all of the people at the Grange for the Mother's Day brunch. And she was there at 8 o'clock. She left at 5, I think, on Saturday. There were about 40 volunteers. The trucks were pretty full. I didn't see the end, and I don't think everything got picked up yet. It was cold and rainy, and there were awesome people out there. Dick was driving around picking up trash all over the place and helping out. It was an amazing thing, and Ellie put in hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work on this.
I think she has said the last 5 years, this is the last year I'm gonna do it.
So I think I had to just put on our agenda for the following week that we should send her a letter of appreciation because it was an amazing amount of work. But thank you, Gabby.
That's great. She's a rock star.
I think we're at going into executive session now. There's a third, this one right here. Sorry, thank you, Gordon.
It's okay.
So I'll move that we now go into executive session for 2 issues. One relating to tax sales.
But we need to do them separately. So you'll enter one to go in.
And then come out?
Yeah, and then you'll
All right,
enter
so
one.
just for tax sales, under 1 VSA section 313A2.
Is there a second?
I'll take those.
Sorry.
And just so that everyone's clear, that's for the purpose of negotiating or securing a real estate purchase or option. So that's what you're.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Troy, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So we will go into executive session at 7:53. I'm sorry, do we have to come out of executive session?
We
Yes.
exited at 8:09.
Okay, and
No
And
action
you had
taken.
invited me to join the executive session, right?
Yes,
I
you did. in
totally
fact.
invited you.
That's what I thought.
So do we have a in the matter of appointing a,
Authorization for
Authorization.
bidding on Guilford Textile Properties.
thank you for saying that.
No problem.
Is there a motion to appoint somebody to
I'd
act?
like to make the motion that Gabby comes to the auction on the 31st of May at 4 PM here at the town office for the 4 parcels in Guilford.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. So I think Penny, if others of us are going to come, I'm sorry, I think Katie, if others of us are going to come, that you should probably warn that, even though we won't take any action as a,
It's on record.
it's a, okay, thank you.
I mean, I don't, it's not you warning it.
Okay, you're right.
I think
We're
because you're not actually
We're not
meeting
making
as a
any vote,
board.
yeah, we're not
Yeah.
Right.
Any decisions.
Anybody can come to the
Yeah.
tax sale,
It's
so
public.
I just
Okay.
didn't know.
Thank you. So,
You're
I-
gonna move to.
I would
adjourn
like
executive
to-
session.
I would like to make the motion, we go into executive session for a personnel matter.
Thank
with
you.
5 select board members.
is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Are you off?
Executive session at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
And no action was taken in the executive session, and I would entertain a motion.
I'd like
So
to make
moved. Oh, go ahead.
motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll race you up front of that corner of Blair's.